Welcome back to the Qt Developer, or the Qt Developer, whichever you prefer. Today, we're going to take a look at the QQueue. The QQueue. That's kind of funny. So, we're going to look at the DQ, the head, the swap. It's going to be interesting. So, let's get started. So, as always, I'm going to include the QQueue and the QDebug. So, in order to create the QQueue, what I need to do is I need to add the QQueue. So let's declare the QQueue. Whoops. EUE. And I'm going to name it. Well, actually, I need the template. So let's see. Why don't I give it QChar? Okay. And I'm going to name it a queue. There we go. Really original, isn't it? So in order to put something into the queue, I need to call something called the enqueue. So if I do queue.enqueue, let's go ahead and change things up. I'm going to give it characters today. There we go. And enqueue again. And I'll go ahead and pass it another character. A, B, can you guess what the next character is going to be? You probably can. It's going to be a C. Whoops. There we go. So, 3 enqueues. Now what I want to do is I want to check it out. Very similar to the stack. So I could use a while loop to cycle through and check to see if it's empty. So while the queue is not empty, I am going to go ahead and dequeue and then check the size. Very similar to the stack we did, except the stack I was popping, but in here I'm going to dequeue. Whoops. There's the queue.dequeue. And then I'll go ahead and check the size. And the queue.size. There we go. So, now let's go ahead and check this out. Look at that. ABC, the size, 210. So it's working pretty well. Beautiful. Now the next thing I want to do. Now it's empty. So I'll go ahead and copy this again. Paste it. Keep my same enqueues with my same character. And now what I want to do is I think I want to create a new variable. I'm going to call this variable num. I'm going to set this variable to 72. Now, what I'm going to do with that variable is I'd actually like to start to change the queue. Now, since I'm using characters, I'm going to use 72, which is one of the ASCII characters. And one neat thing about Qt is you can roll your mouse over the character, and look what happens. It tells what the ASCII number is. Here's the ASCII number, and here's the ASCII number. Now, do you know what 72 is? Can you guess? Let's see if you can guess. So I will start typing. See if you can guess before I finish typing. So I'm going to check the queue. Dot. I want to make sure it's not empty. Right? And there's my while loop. Have you guessed it? I'm racing the clock. Whoops. See, that's what happens. I got nervous. Think you're going to beat me. There's the temperature. I'm going to set that to the queue.head. So what this is going to do, that's going to give me a reference to the front of the queue, the head of the queue. Now I want to take the temperature and I want to set that equal to 72 plus 1. But in order for me to do that, I have to cast it to a short. So there's my num, and I'm going to increment, and then I'm going to close the brace, or the parenthesis. I will then take a look and say, all right, what is actually happening to what? To the head. There it is. And at this point, I'm going to DQ, because I like to DQ. It's kind of funny. DQ. Oh, Dairy Queen. It's like I could get some ice cream. I like that. That's neat. All right, so now let's see what happens and see if it works. Look at that. My goodness, it did. H, if you didn't guess it, is what? 72 plus 1. That's pretty neat. Or is it? What actually happened here? That's the riddle. Is it 72 or is it 73? That's the question. That's the riddle. Leave a comments. Let me know your thoughts. So now I'm going to do something else. Let's play around with the queue. And let's make a lottery queue. So I'll go ahead, comment out that while loop. I will then go ahead and now I'd like to make a new queue. There's the queue. Now this queue is going to be some shorts. Those shorts, I'm going to name this, the lottery queue. Now the lottery queue needs to actually have what? It needs to have a random number. So I'm going to create a random number based on the queue date and time. Let's see. And I'll get the current time since epoch. And where's my down arrow key? Trying to find that down arrow key. So let's see. Current seconds. Or do I want milliseconds? Let's take milliseconds. I have more of them. There we go. Now what I'll do is I need to actually start looping through this. So if I loop through, I'll set P equals to, because I want to be different than using N all the time, equals to 0. And then I'm going to say P is less than 10. We'll just take 10 numbers. I'll go ahead and increment P. And now I'm going to set a integer of n random number. Random number, and I'll set it equal to what? Rand, and I'll only take 100. Kind of go back here, make that pretty. Everything lines up. Now what I'd like to do, I'd like to take the lottery queue. I'd like to in-queue the lottery queue with the n random number. Nice. Beautiful. Now I need to actually see what's in it. So I'm going to QDebug. Look at the lottery queue. And I'm going to output lottery. Queue size, because I want to get the size of the lottery. And it's going to be lottery queue dot size. There we go. Now if I come over here, made a little mistake. There it is. Fix that up. And what does this say? Invalid. Look at that. Another mistake. Too quick for typing. So what do you think is going to happen here? Can you figure out that code? Well, let's take a look. There it is. Nice. I have 10 numbers. Here are my 10 numbers. And the random numbers. There we go. Now, one thing that's going to be interesting is, will it actually generate a random number every time the program is run? What do you think will happen? Do you think these numbers will be the same? Or do you think it will create new numbers? If you guessed new numbers, then you were absolutely correct. Look at that. That's pretty neat. That's what this does right here. This srand, that will create a new random number every time it's run based on the milliseconds from the QDate time. In a later episode, I will actually do the QDate time. We can examine that. But this is it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Today was all about the QQueue. Please leave some thoughts and some comments. If you'd like any other videos, please share your ideas. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.